everyone. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life, part of the Studio 25 podcast network. And today, after kind of misconnecting for a few minutes, we've got Kelly Springer online. And Kelly is with Kelly's Choice. 3 Kellys in a row, Kelly. So, how do we do that?
And she kind of like years, right?
Kelly. Yeah. And she's coming to the Little Falls area for an event. So we're going to talk a little bit about who she is and what she's going to do when she gets here. So, Kelly, tell me a little bit about kind of growing up.
So I am from Central New York, and I was very lucky to be from this area. My dad is one of 12, so I have a huge family.
Oh, yes. My God.
Very, very lucky. We have about 200 immediate family members.
Oh, good Lord.
So it was a fantastic way to grow up. I have 3 older brothers, and so it was just a really fun Central New York experience with skiing and swimming and lakes and everything else.
So were you interested in business early on? Was that something you were like, hey, I want to be a business person, or how did that evolve?
No. Totally no. I really thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. I always wanted children. And I chose nutrition as a profession so that I could utilize my degree as a stay-at-home mom. And then potentially, maybe do some work on the side, work for some school districts and things like that. Never in a million years did I think I would be a business owner.
Oh, wow. And that was, you went to school and all after the 12 children you had, right? No.
Yeah.
I thought you'd follow in your dad's footsteps, right?
I only had 2. I have 2 daughters that are now almost 20 and 18.
Oh, good Lord. So you talked about that educational experience that you had. How did that get you into nutrition and wellness? How did that work?
So I was really lucky that my dad's youngest sister, and why I bring up that he had 12 children, was because I was the nanny for my dad's youngest sister. So she had 3 boys. And I truly saw how she could use her degree with her family and also do these cool jobs. And so I started, right at 16 years old, pushing tray carts and passing out menus at our local hospital, and went right into nutrition at West Virginia University at 17 years old. It truly has been a perfect fit for me. I love talking about nutrition, educating people. It's been just such a fun journey.
Wow. So you started Kelly's Choice. You made that business decision, started it in 2012. So kind of what inspired you to do that? What was the trigger for that?
Well, at that time, I was going through, just a few years prior, going through divorce, and my girls were about 3 and 5 years old. I was working as the Wegmans dietitian for employee wellness, and I was picking up all these side jobs because I was kind of left in a very bad financial situation through divorce. So I was hustling and getting all these side jobs, and I was actually getting quite a bit of these side jobs, more than I could take on. So I reached out to a group of dietitians and said, hey, would you join with me? If I get the work and I take a cut of it, would you be a part of this? So in 2012, Kelly's Choice was started as a collective of dietitians, taking on all this kind of side hustle, from employee wellness to working with colleges. We were doing sports nutrition and private practice. So today we have over 50 dietitians nationwide. We still are in the way of private practice doing medical nutrition therapy. We also have a workplace wellness vertical, and we do a lot of media.
You said divorce and trigger in the same sentence. And so I think people understand that divorce triggers a lot of things, right?
It does.
In this case, yeah. It was a good thing, right?
It was.
So, you've been on Good Morning America. You've been really out there with this message. And I want to know, what does that feel like sharing that message on a national stage as opposed to like a small podcast like this?
Well, it was an emotional experience because I was able to have my daughters and my husband in the side room. And so I was so proud. They were proud of me to be on that big stage. But truly, every single time I speak, I'm affecting someone, right? Every single time. So it doesn't matter if it's on a podcast like this or on a Good Morning America. When you're looking into that screen, you're able to affect somebody and giving them a piece of information that's truly going to affect their health.
Well, you can affect my health if you want to. I mean, I have a blazer on. It's a little chilly in here today, even though it's nice outside today. But yeah. You've become a spokesperson for a lot of different brands, and I wanted to know what's that process of you choosing? What's the criteria for you to choose to speak out for a brand or not?
Well, it's interesting. People ask me this a lot, and
Oh darn! I thought it was unique. Nobody else has
well,
asked this.
it's
Come on.
interesting. Well, dietitians ask me this. So we take
Yeah.
on a lot of dietitian and dietitian interns. So they ask me, how do I choose? It's not actually that way. It goes the other way, that they mostly choose us. So unhealthy brands aren't reaching out to dietitians to have them represent them. It's the health forward thinking brands and the real food brands that are reaching out. So for instance, New York State apples, that's a perfect fit for a registered dietitian. So this is where even like a Lifeway kefir and getting into probiotics is a true fit. So these brands are reaching out to us as registered dietitians to say, hey, can you get our message to the consumer about the health benefits of this brand?
Right. And I mean, I think that with even during the election, there was a lot of talk about health, right? And so I think even prior to that, it's been on people's minds. And I stumbled across this fact and I was like, holy mackerel. It said studies show that 46% of American adults and over half of American children have poor quality diets. And so what do you see as the biggest barriers, even though we're all talking about this, right, to improving those habits, and how does Kelly's Choice address that?
So I think it's truly the lack of education. I've been in this a long, 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 long time. And if you look at the school districts right now, they're not teaching nutrition in schools. And so therefore you don't know. So I give the analogy like a car. I drive a car every day. I understand how to drive that car. I'm a very proficient driver, but I don't know how to change the oil. I don't know how to change a tire. And so therefore Americans are eating every day, but they don't understand how to feed themselves. And so when we get educated, of course I can go take a course and learn how to do an oil change, and then therefore I'd be educated. And this is the same way in nutrition. We have to understand how to fuel our bodies the proper way.
And I think one of the things, before it used to be a lot of home cooking and things like that, like you could make a soup with stock and real vegetables and everything, and you could eat off of that for a week, right? And it was healthy for you. It was good for you. And I don't think people even know how to do that anymore, right?
Well, we need to get back to the basics. And so part of the question you asked of how do we address that? We have developed a 12-step program called the Transformation Program. And it's a super generic name because it works on all levels. It doesn't matter if it's a kid in school or if it's an adult trying to reverse type 2 diabetes. This transformation program brings it down to morsel-sized pieces of what are carbohydrates and fiber. How do you add in protein? What does fat look like and how much to have? So through these lessons and through this 12-step program, they're able to truly understand nutrition and how to put together those meals, like how to actually make that beef stew and what parts need to be there in that stew to be complete.
Yeah. And why would they do it? I mean,
Exactly. Yes.
if they were even to look at the financial, right? I mean, you count what that costs to make that. I'm talking about this because I literally just had beef soup that my wife made, put together Sunday, and we do this. That's why I'm talking about it. We actually do it. Not only is it good for you, but it actually saves money. I mean,
It does.
Going out all the time, it can be social, but a lot of times you're not getting what you need. And this way here, you're eating a good, healthy meal, right?
Well, people say that it is expensive to eat healthy. And I started my career at Cornell Cooperative, went into Hillside Children's Center, and I'm telling you, I understand how to shop on a budget. You can do it super healthfully. You can get frozen veggies, canned items, and truly save yourself a lot of money, but put this together. So we try to debunk a lot of these hurdles that people put up. We can knock them all down and make nutrition easy.
Are there three out of that, like 3 quick tips out of the 12 steps, kind of 3 quick tips you could like throw out there?
Absolutely. So every single week, there is a challenge of nutrition, exercise, and hydration. And we actually couple that with an app so people can keep track of it. But those 3 things of what you can actually put forth and putting those 3 things together. So in the way of hydration is so important and overlooked. This is leading to some mental health issues, some digestive issues. So by getting in at least 64 ounces of fluid a day can help a ton. In the way of exercise, That also can help with mental health, our digestion, burning off some calories. And so getting in some steps every day, getting out there. And now that the weather is getting nicer, it's a little bit easier. But that exercise is important too. And then in nutrition, making sure you're always getting fiber, protein, and healthy fats, that coupling together, that thinking of the three things in combination, and will really truly help to get you to the healthy goals.
Okay. Protein, you could be talking eggs, fiber. What would be a good fiber example?
So just like you talked about your beef stew, this morning I had my eggs, which are a perfect protein source. They're coupled in with a good healthy fat, which can help absorb the fat-soluble vitamins that are in the egg, like vitamin E and vitamin D. I coupled that with my husband made homemade sourdough bread. It's actually sitting on our counter right here.
Yeah.
And so I coupled that together. So we're having a fiber-rich source with the protein. Perfect.
All right. So the sourdough bread is the fiber part of it.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And that's a good question too. My husband's actually doing an 80-20 where it's 80% whole grain and using 20% of the white flour. So a combination of the two makes it so it's a really good consistency. It's not too hard. So sometimes with a 100% whole wheat would be a little bit dense. But this way we're getting a good fiber-rich source coming from that bread.
Yeah, my wife's got a starter that's I don't know how many years old, but anyway, she got into it, and it's a science. It's a science by itself, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I'm glad he's really into it because I would just pick it up at the store. So I am really grateful for him.
I'm not into it at all, but I will eat it. It tastes good.
Me
all right.
too. Me too.
So, you see a lot on TV about, these diets and quick fix supplements and on, and Golo and on. I shouldn't probably say anybody's name, but you know what I'm saying? There's all these different things. And, just a thinking person, if you listen to all the warnings, a shot a day and everything else, it's like, I sit there going, how could anybody do any of these things? They sound horrible. I mean, is there anything out there being advertised that's good for you?
Well, this is where the understanding and the education is going to be extremely important. So we just recently launched a book called The New Weight Loss Era that you can find on Amazon. So if we're talking about all of these weight loss medications, understanding that the pairing of nutrition together with these, if you are choosing to take a weight loss medication, understand that nutrition is extremely important, even more important, because if we're talking about these weight loss medications in particular, it actually triggers your GLP-1. It's a synthetic. So let me explain. Do you want me to explain that a little bit?
I do because I'm confused on it. I mean, you see all the probiotics, you see the GLP-1, you see, okay, what is all this stuff and what does it mean?
Yes. So basically, when we eat fiber and protein, as we were talking about earlier, that naturally creates a GLP-1 hormone in our body. That hormone goes to our brain to tell our brains that we are now full and satisfied. And so therefore you'll stop eating. These weight loss medications are a synthetic of that GLP-1. So when we eat fiber and protein, it produces it. But those weight loss medications, the GLP-1 synthetic can last longer. So therefore you're not hungry for a long period of time, which can lead to you not eating because you're truly not hungry. And this can cause subdeficiencies and deficiencies. So if you're not understanding how much protein or fiber or nutrients and vitamins, you could get yourself into a pretty big health crisis.
Okay. And that's kind of the opposite of what they were saying before, where we had this eat 6, 8, whatever, 10 meals a day, small, the right stuff kind of thing to keep the metabolism going. I mean, that sounds like it's the opposite, where you suppress all the thought of eating and then you go for these long periods, almost like fasting for long periods of time. And that's not good for you.
That's not good. And so therefore, I started after, again, I've had a varied career in nutrition, but I actually was a bariatric dietitian. So I specialized in weight loss. I was the bariatric dietitian for 4 years. I even ran a bariatric center at Auburn Memorial Hospital. So understanding obesity, understanding how those weight loss medications changed your gut hormones, I really got to see firsthand the deficiencies that it was causing by people not eating enough food. So we really need to make sure that we are keeping up with the protein and the nutrients and vitamins. So working with a registered dietitian, if wherever you are on the weight loss journey, it's going to be beneficial.
Okay. And earlier you talked about diabetes, pre-diabetes. What are some of the steps people can take to reverse that course? Is it possible to reverse course on that? And how does Kelly's Choice kind of help with that? Specifically, give me some meat here. We talked about meat earlier too. So
yes. So type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes in almost all cases is preventable and reversible. So just so everyone heard that, is preventable and reversible in almost all cases, probably 98% of cases. And we truly have the program that has been clinically tested, and we have a white paper that has proven to reverse and prevent diabetes, type 2 diabetes, not type 1. Type 1 is an autoimmune disease. But anyone working, if you do have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, please reach out to us at kellyschoice.org. We can truly help you. And in most cases, it's covered by insurance.
Oh, wow.
So if you have, yes. So if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Aetna, United Healthcare, if you're on Medicare, if you have type 2 diabetes, it can be a covered service.
Okay. And talk about the interaction with, what you eat and how you sleep, and then how that kind of affects your body and your weight and your health and everything.
So absolutely. So, you know that old saying that nothing good happens after midnight?
I don't remember that one. I'm asleep by then. If it happened, I'm not aware of it.
Well, I kind of say nothing good happens after dinner.
Okay.
So if you think about the foods that you eat after dinner, if you're sitting in front of the TV, it is cookies, ice creams, cakes, pretzels, chips.
Comfort
and
food.
So therefore, it's comfort food.
Yeah.
So a lot of those foods that we have after dinner are truly going to affect your sleep. A lot of them are simple carbohydrates, and those are not good to put in your digestion right before bed.
Okay.
So yeah.
Go ahead. You can keep going.
So as much as possible, try to get a solid dinner. Try to make sure you have your protein, fiber, and also some healthy fats, because then you're less likely to want to eat those sweets and those simple carbohydrates after dinner.
I got a question about dinner then too that triggered, because more Europeans, they eat later at night. Then you have some people saying no, cut it off early. I mean, what should we do? Should we be eating late? Should we be eating earlier and then cut those things out? Forget the ice cream, the cookies, what should we do?
Well, it depends. So in Europe, their sleep cycle is a little bit differently. So they may start their day later. So they're still getting their, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, or 6 to 9 hours of sleep, but their cycle is a little different. So it just depends on who you are, what kind of shift for work are you working? So this all depends. And that's where understanding that nutrition really should be for you. What is happening with you? When do you need to eat? When are you hungry? What is going on in your life? And so there's not one size fits all type of situation.
Okay. I mean, I've got it in my head that, I'm kind of 8 to 5, let's say, and I'm like, we shouldn't eat past 5 because you're going to go to bed. It's just going to lay there on your stomach. It's going to turn to fat, and you're going to be, this porpoise on the beach. No.
Well, for me, honestly, I do better and sleep better if I eat earlier. So I know that for my own body. But some people are different. And this is where even before I work out, I really can't eat, so I have to make sure that I'm kind of eating on an empty stomach. But some people can eat an entire breakfast. So we really need to have more precision education about what's going on with your body and what your lifestyle is like.
Okay. So everybody's basically different, and you would work with them to figure out, okay, what's good for you.
Exactly. Because someone might be coming in also as a vegan or on the keto diet, or they're really big into intermittent fasting. So we try to have no judgment. We try to work with people wherever they're at.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I saw where you'd partnered with a lot of community organizations and health brands to promote nutrition education. What role do these partnerships play in reaching underserved populations? Because I think even here in the Little Falls area, we've got a high percentage of low income. And sometimes I think getting the word to them and getting them to understand some of these things is difficult. How do you deal with that?
It is. So we just started a nonprofit called Nutrition Education for All. We are reaching out as we speak, trying to apply for grants to be able to help the underserved. And the underserved being children as well. Like I said, the education is still not being taught in school districts. We're trying to do more with that. And then also when we get into the elderly, if you don't have type 2 diabetes or chronic kidney disease, you don't have coverage for nutrition education under Medicare. So this is a problem. We get a lot of doctor referrals for this population, anyone over 65, and there's not coverage. And people on a fixed income, it can be difficult to cover the cost. So both on the young and the old, we're trying as much as possible to raise money and raise awareness that these services are necessary.
Okay, yeah. You said that your mission is to revolutionize the way people think about health and wellness. And so I wanted to know, what does the revolution look like to you, and what steps are you taking to create that revolution, or be involved with it, or push it forward?
I think every single talk I do, showing up and sharing the knowledge that I have, the education that I have, is one life at a time. Hopefully getting on bigger stages, being able to affect thousands of people. But it's very exciting time. And I truly believe, because I've been able to see it firsthand, when we educate, people understand the why, as what you said before. They understand why we're saying eat fruits and vegetables. They're understanding what fiber is and what protein is, and how to actually put these lessons into place in their life.
Okay. Well, you're on this stage now, so we got Good Morning America beat. You know, you've arrived on the biggest stage there is.
Yes.
So you're coming to Little Falls. Tell me a little bit about what that looks like, what the name of it is, when it is.
Yes, I'm excited for this event, and we're going to be talking about the power of nutrition and how it relates to mental health. It's one of our biggest talks right now. I was just out in Chicago last week at the Frontline Convention Conference, and this presentation was a hit. People absolutely loved it. We're excited to show that connection between mental health and nutrition, and just how powerful nutrition can be.
So it's on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and you've got Riverview Yoga and then the Power of Nutrition, and it's at the Stone Mill. So I want to make sure everybody comes out to that or signs up for it. I think we'll put a link in there to make that happen. To finish, looking ahead, the next 5 or 10 years, where do you see Kelly's Choice? Where do you see you? What do you see happening? And are you going to have an impact?
Yes. So I'm already having impact. Really, a pretty cool thing is my 20-year-old is going into nutrition as well. So she's studying it. So I feel like I've already made an impact, that I encourage someone to step into my shoes and truly lead the way as well, coming right after me. But going forward, I want to speak. I want to get on as many stages as I possibly can and share the knowledge. When I'm on stage, I see that light bulb turn on in the audience. Someone just gets it. I think, again, the way that we frame things, the way that we use analogies really helps people to understand the why behind what we're talking about in the way of nutrition, and how to put that into real life uses.
Okay. You had a canned answer there for me.
Well, I'm excited. Like I said, I've been in this field for a very long time, and I'm just excited to see where we are. The landscape is changing. Like you said, physicians are referring more to us. We're getting asked to work in work sites across the area more and more and more. So I think people are finally understanding the power of nutrition.
I saw this image online the other day, and it had people on a beach in the 60s and people on a beach today. And the body shapes, including mine, nothing like, well, when I was growing up, not the same. And so I think that's what you're trying to really impact, is that overall health, that look, how we feel, how we sleep, everything, right?
Everything. So our transformation program really, truly dives into all of that. Like you said, there's an entire section on sleep. There's a whole section on mindful eating, as well as the basics of nutrition. So it really does impact your entire health and well-being.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, I've appreciated your time this afternoon. Sorry, we were misconnecting at the beginning, but it worked, right?
Yes. It all comes together.
Well, and I look forward to seeing you here on the 29th. You're actually going to be in the building right next door to me, where I am right now.
And I'm going to bring books. So you can get a personalized signed book.
Awesome.
And we're going to have it at a lower rate than on Amazon. So you can pick up your book. I'll sign it for you. And you can share it with your loved ones as well.
Awesome. I'll make sure I'm there.
Oh, thanks.
All right,
I can't wait.
You. All right, everyone. Thank you for being with us today on Small Town Life. I've had Kelly Springer here with Kelly's Choice, and we'll see you next time.